Good morning and welcome to my short video on the quilts we're going to be making in Valentina. I can't believe it's come around again already, and it's not going to be long now that we're all going to be sewing there, sewing crazy. So as you can see, I have the quilts here as normal. They're not completely finished, but this is the French braid one, which I have to say is much nicer. Now it's made up. I don't think the picture does it justice, but that quite often happens. So I used this book, French Braid Quilts by Jane Hardy Miller. You can buy it on the book depository, or I do have some copies, but if anybody needs a copy, you must let me know, because I've only got limited copies. I think I've only got 10. So this is the quilt that we're going to be doing. It's Shadow City, and it's on page 54 in the book. Now, when you look at the fabric requirements, it's a little bit hard to know what fabric is going where, because there's quite a lot of different requirements written out. So I'm just going to go through it a little bit with you. So you need half a yard of 12 colours for the colour run. The colour run is from here. So this is number 1. And we're working all the way up, and then the dark one is number 12. So if we look at the bottom here, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So you can see that it needs to be graded from one colour to the next. You can use 2 different colours if you want. Say you wanted to use orange to red, that would be fine. But really, they just got to go tonally. When you squint your eyes, they've got to go from light to dark. That's the most important thing. So from those 12 colours, you need half a yard of each colour. Then for the squares, I just used 1 yard, and that was enough to do the squares in both the narrow bands and the wider braids. These are called separators, but these are also called separators. So you have to read the book quite a few times to understand what's what. Now, you will also, I think you need, for these strips here, you need another yard. So if you were going to use the same fabric for that and that would be 2 yards, or 2 separate 1 yards. Okay. Your border then is extra, depending on what width you want to go, and you do need a fabric for the starting triangle and the finishing triangles, and it says half a yard in the book of each. All right. So, but if anybody has any queries, you can let me know. And if anybody needs any fabrics, just give us a buzz and we can sort them out for you. You can see here we've lots of fabrics in the shop, and that's another nice colour run. Now, what I would suggest if you're doing this quilt is, before you get to the retreat, is to make yourself this little page here. So you will have enough fabric to cut a little tiny piece off each fabric and make yourself a chart with 1 to 12. This is very important. Because it's quite difficult to follow the colour run. So if you have this in front of you, it makes it very simple. Now, I know some of you like to cut the fabrics in advance, but it's not really that sort of quilt. If you want to cut it, read the instructions thoroughly. Don't cut the triangles at the top and the bottom, because I changed the measurements slightly on the pattern, and I need to tell you that when we're there. But if you do want to go ahead and read the instructions and cut, that's fine, but it's probably better if you don't. I'll leave it up to you. Okay, so the next quilt that we're doing is a scrap quilt, which I know some of you are quite excited about. I've left this in pieces for the purpose of showing you, because people are saying, what size is it? That depends on how many blocks you make. So this piece here is 4 blocks in total, and the blocks are 18 inches. Okay, so I'm going to give you the requirements of making 4 times this, so we'll have another one there, there, there and there, which will give you 72 by 72. All right. Each block is made up of one of these. All right. And then the 4 sewn together, that's the actual block there. Okay, so that's your 18-inch block. All right, now for this, you need lots and lots and lots of 1.5-inch strips. So you see here, I've got a box full of 1.5-inch strips. I've used a box already just to make those blocks. So you just need to cut lots and lots, all different colours. Now you can go for whatever colour theme you want. You can go for muted, or you can go for bright. I've gone for bright, but you could go for like creams and beiges. It's entirely up to you. Your centre doesn't have to be black. It could be cream, white, green, whatever. Just use your imagination. You can pick your centre fabric to match all your scraps. Now, to make this, you are going to need, to make 72 by 72, you are going to need 3 yards of stitch and tear. That's Valentina that we use on the back as the foundation. All right, so you need 3 yards of stitch and tear. You need 2 yards of your centre fabric. Okay, and that will give you a little narrow border around the outside as well. Lots of 1.5 inch strips. We're not including the binding or any borders because that'll be up to you when you've finished it. You will need a can of basting spray. Okay, and also if you have it, a 9.5 inch square ruler. If you don't have it, that doesn't matter. You can use any square ruler. But just if you do have one, just bring it along anyway. We will have our shop with us, and I have basting spray, I have rolls of stitch and tear, I also have some 9.5 inch rulers. Now also if you bring in regular sewing kits like you normally would, but what I would really recommend is for this quilt you need a long tape measure. Do you know the extra long ones? I will bring some with me if anybody doesn't have one. You need a long ruler and the largest board that you have for this quilt. For this one, you just need your regular sewing kit will be fine. All right. So I'd say that's more or less it. If anybody has any questions, you can get in touch. You can message me on Facebook, or you can ring me, or you can email. Most of you know how to get in touch with me by now. So I'll be in touch with you about the times for arriving and any other housekeeping details in the next coming weeks. And looking forward to it. Thanks very much. And roll on, Valentina.